tick-tock, tick-tock. Are y'all ready to rock?
It's music time! Listeners, hello and welcome to the It's Music Time podcast. My name is Morgan Mitchell.
And I'm Tanner Grover, and this is what we do. And today we are doing it with
Sophia Suzanne.
Welcome, Sophia.
Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted you're here. What an honor. Let's jump right in. Tanner, take it away.
All right, so one thing we like to do, Sophia, is we have to play a little bit of a game at the top of the show as a bit of an icebreaker. And today we're going to play EGOT Enigma. EGOT, of course, stands for an Emmy winner, a Grammy winner, an Oscar winner, and a Tony winner. And we have two of them to choose from today with 5 trivia questions. The answer is either going to be Barbra Streisand or Elton John. So, Sophia, are you ready to play EGOT Enigma?
I am, yes.
All right.
All right, so question number 1. Which EGOT Enigma has a great fear and is actually allergic to horses? Was it Barbra Streisand or Elton John?
Ooh. I'll go with Barbra Streisand.
Correct.
1 out of 1, baby. I like it. Number 2.
All right, number 2. Which EGOT Enigma is a huge fan of the acclaimed American metal grunge band Alice in Chains? Is it Barbra Streisand or Elton John?
Alice in Chains. Are they older? I don't know. I would think Elton John.
Correct. 2 out of
Nailed
2.
it.
You're on fire. Number 3. Which EGOT Enigma had their beloved late dog Sammy cloned to create 2 new dogs, Violet and Scarlet? That is wild. Where do you find this stuff? Okay. Barbra Streisand or Elton John? Who was it?
I'm going to go with Elton John for that.
Super close, Barbra. But I feel like Elton would
Actually?
also do that. I feel like he would also clone his
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, me too.
Wow. Okay, number 4.
All right. Which EGOT Enigma stated in a 1970s interview that if they ever had a daughter, they would name them Umbrella? Was it Barbra Streisand or Elton John?
Elton John. There's no way Barbara would name her child Umbrella.
That was Elton John,
Well
yes.
done. Well done. Then the final question, number 5. Which EGOT Enigma can order a complete meal in Chinese, having acquired this talent from working as a cashier in a Chinese restaurant? Was it Barbra Streisand or Elton John?
Ooh. Let's go with Barbara.
Correct.
Correct. Great job.
Excellent job, Sophia. Well done. Very impressed.
Thank
All right.
you.
So the one last thing we like to do, before we get into your bio and all the wonderful things that you've done and are doing, we like to eliminate our guests on the number 1 Billboard song the day they were born. So, Sophia Suzanne, do you have any idea what the number 1 Billboard song was on the day you were born?
Oh, that's hard. Oh my goodness. Well, I was born 2007, so I guess it was early 2000s. Ooh. What about something by Miley Cyrus?
That's a great guess.
Same ballpark.
That's
yeah.
a great guess, yeah.
Mhm.
It was actually Crank That Soldier Boy by Soldier Boy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's a classic. That's a good one to come into, I would say.
So karaoke, that's your next go-to.
All right. So we are going to just let listeners know all of the cool things you're up to, Sophia. So you can just sit back and relax. I'm just going to share parts of your bio. Anything you want to add after the fact, please chime right in. So listeners, we are so lucky to be sitting here chatting with this amazing, amazing artist. She is a 17-year-old singer-songwriter, Sophia Suzanne Scott. And she's a guitarist from our all hometown of Boothbay, Maine. She has performed with Hartward's drama program and Maine State Music Theater. And she's won first place for 4 consecutive years at the NATS Musical Theater Competition. Throughout high school, Sophia has been selected for the District 3 All-State and All-Eastern Choir Festivals. She has won awards for her vocal arrangements, original underscore, and acting at the Maine State One-Act Festivals. In 2023, she received a full scholarship to Berklee College of Music's Aspiring Nurse Program for guitar. She recently starred in and produced the score for a full-length film called Getting Along. Sophia teaches beginner guitar and music theory lessons to children in Mid-Coast, Maine. Her debut single, Steady, is out now and on all streaming platforms. Sophia will be attending the University of Southern California in the fall for music production with a concentration in film scoring and double minoring in sociology and acting. Sophia Suzanne, what an honor. Welcome again, and thank you so much for being here with us on the It's Music Time podcast.
Thank you.
So we were chatting a little bit, Sophia, before we came on, and Morgan was saying how she saw you perform live at a church in town. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you perform at the Southport Island Music Fest. You opened up for the ABBA tribute band, and here's this performer. You take the stage, you're 5 feet tall, little tiny voice, right? And it's like, boom, you come out and you're doing Yellow by Coldplay, and I'm like, what is happening here? And so you've got, your set was a mix of covers and originals, and I was completely blown away, as was Morgan when you saw you perform as well. And so, we just want to know a little bit about your background. Like, where did, what are some of your first musical memories? When did you, take an interest in writing your own material? Like, tell us who Sophia Suzanne Scott is.
That's so nice. So my dad is actually a musician. He worked on a cruise ship in New York City for a really long time when he was young. He's a pianist and he arranges as well. And he has a lot of experience with sound engineering. And my mom, she's from India. She actually sang jingles throughout her teen years and her early 20s. And she went to school at AMDA in New York City. So I have a very artsy family. And I've been singing ever since I was little with my dad at the piano, and he wanted me to start playing my own instrument too. And so I took up to guitar when I was 8, and I've been taking private lessons since then, and vocal lessons, and doing theater and singing competitions. And and I started writing songs, I think, when I was around 13, because I went to a middle school for writing, CTL. It's very writing and reading focused. And so I was doing a lot of poetry, and I wanted to turn my poetry into music. And so I thought that was a very authentic thing to do. So I started to turn my poetry into songs.
Stunning.
Wow. So all right, so you're writing poetry, you're 13, right? What was your first exposure to poetry? When did you even, I'm not sure I, knew what a poem really was until I was, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15, maybe a little bit after the fact. But if you're writing your own at 13, I mean, you must have had some exposure when you were 9, 10 years old?
Yeah, you're so right. I'm 17. I had very early exposure to poetry because, again, the school was so writing and reading focused. We were reading poems every day. I remember a poem by Mary Oliver, A Summer's Day, was my first ever favorite poem, and she's really inspired my writing too. But before I left middle school, I wrote a poem about growing up, and I was for my middle school graduation, I really want to sing a song about leaving somewhere that I love. And so I wrote this poem called Impatient Child, and I turned it into a song. And it's not a part of the album of music that I sang recently called Impatient Child, but it inspired that album.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Super. So, in terms of your creative process, what would you like to speak about in terms of how ideas come to you? Do you sort of feel an energy and then you follow that toward sort of a more structured musical arrangement, or is it the music that comes to you? Do you sort of see in pictures in your mind? Just curious about your inner world, your imagination. Like, what's the wellspring behind it?
You're so right, because I'm a very sensitive person. I'm very vulnerable with my lyrics. I definitely feel like my songs sprout more from feelings and less from experience. So, and I write my music very late at night when I'm feeling the most. Specifically, Steady, the song that I published, it speaks to the fears of growing up. And I think it was during a time in my life where I was very nervous for the future, and I was just very unsure of myself. And I think writing music really helps me process my emotions.
Beautifully said. Steady is such a gorgeous piece. I listened to it several times, even just today before the interview, and just what you're speaking to about your poetry and your poetic process and the fact that it comes from feeling is so alive in that song. And it was such a journey along your sort of cascade of feeling, and something that it sounds like is rooted in a real moment in time for you, and yet very relatable, I think, for most people that are experiencing uncertainty. And the way you talk about your heart and your body and the way you're experiencing life and the unknown, I think is just so eloquent and universal, but also rooted in such a personal moment. So just a huge congratulations for that single. It is absolutely captivating.
Thank you so much. That's the best feedback I've ever received about that song.
Oh, it's really special, Sophia. It really is. I mean, I think often artists are able to articulate and share things that many of us don't have maybe the words to, but can really sink into it when it's offered up with lyric and with vocal and with music and harmony. So you were able to articulate something very, very poignant and special. So thanks for being vulnerable in that way.
Thank you. I'm glad that I was able to move you that way as a listener. That's my goal.
Absolutely.
So you talked about your process being, up late at night. That's when you feel you're most vulnerable. Writing and trying to, that's the genesis of your creative process. So you write a song like Steady. Let's say you're writing it up late at night, right? And then all of a sudden you go into the studio and the finished product, what's available to stream on Spotify and all platforms, is this, fleshed out, luscious production of a song. What's that like for you to see that, come from this teeny tiny little idea into something that's, 3 or 4 dimensional?
That's such a great question. So this song, I actually brought it to Berkeley with me when I went to that summer program when I was 15, and I had only written the guitar and vocal part, but I was hearing so much more in my head. Like, I wanted it to be very cinematic. So I got there and I arranged it for strings and percussion and bass and all that, and I gathered a band, and they kind of brought my ideas to life. And so I had a better sense of what I wanted it to sound like. And when I got home, I produced my own demo, and then I brought it to my dad's studio, and we kind of did it all up like you said. And hearing it was so fulfilling for me. I really think the cinematic instrumentation that we ended up creating really tells a story about my emotional journey. It was such an amazing experience working on it with my dad, for sure.
That's cool. It sounds like a really unique bond you have with your father. That's cool.
Yeah, it is. We're like artistic partners / father-daughter. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the one thing I also want to ask you about was you've had experience both acting and arranging, music for stage. So, I mean, I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about those interests and maybe how theater and film have influenced your music.
Yeah, theater, it really has been such a huge part of my life, and I feel like I don't talk about it enough. I mean, I've been performing since I was 5 years old, and specifically with the Heart with Theater, Griff Braley, he puts on the most beautiful, like, artsy, sort of dark shows, and I love being a part of them and playing the characters that he comes up with, and he's really sparked my interest in scoring for film and stage because he's given me those opportunities throughout high school to compose music for our shows. And I think the first score that I composed was when I was 14. It was for a show called Silk Cove, and it was about, living along the coast and stuff, and I could relate to that. And I wrote these sort of sea shanties with these beautiful harmonies and guitar and fiddle, and it was so great. And I think since then, I've been like, this is a really cool musical task that can make good money in the future, that isn't just as kind of unstable as performing is. And it's really the career path I'm trying to go down, because I feel like, I can make a steady living doing that. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm very sensitive, so I feel like I'm pretty good at creating this underlying emotional journey underneath the scene with my music.
So powerful.
Oh, music plays such a huge part in film.
Yeah,
I think of some of I studied film in college, and I think of some of my favorite movies, and you really can't separate the soundtrack from the film. Morgan, I know you're a lover of Pee Wee Herman, and Pee Wee's Big Adventure is not the same without Danny Elfman's score to the movie, or even this year we've got the 50th anniversary of Jaws. What is Jaws without John Williams?
I know. So true. Scores make movies, I swear, yeah. John Williams and Danny are such legends, too, in my mind.
Wow, I love it.
I think we might be interviewing a future legend, Morgan.
There's no question. Legend. There's no question. Let's see. Do we have some more questions we want to kind of rumble through before we move on to the next section? What do you think?
No, I would just like it. I know it's a performance at Southport Island Music Fest. John Noonan, who's a great orator himself, kind of alluded to, you might be coming out with an album, Sophia, and you're wondering if you wouldn't mind maybe touching upon that project a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I have a full album written. It's called Impatient Child, and I performed it live at the end of my senior year as like my senior recital, but I wanted to consider it more like, this is my album in concert for all my friends and family to witness before I actually produce this. And I performed it live with my best friends, and my dad and my guitar teacher, and it was the most special night. It really was. Like, I felt so much connection in that room that night, and it's made me even more excited to produce it. I haven't had time to produce it because I've been in high school, so I made sure to get that one single out, but I was like, I'm not going to put this pressure on myself to get it done before I've graduated. And I think there's a really specific sound I want to achieve, but I haven't found it yet. And so I'm really excited to go off to USC in Los Angeles for college and major in music production and focus on, building my album on my own, and hopefully with the help from my professors and my dad when I get to see him too.
Oh, that's going to be such a rich experience. It's so wise. It's so wise to be able to say, okay, there's this really specific sound I want to achieve. I'm not going to rush myself. That's very rare in these times, to be able to take a breath, take a beat, and give it the breadth and the depth and the space and the time that it needs for real art to emerge and to get all of the tactile logistics in place. So well done. Yes. Well done, you. Very cool. Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
I can't wait to produce it. I'm so excited.
I bet. Oh, I bet. So good.
Being very patient for an impatient child.
I know. I would say patience are on your side here.
You're so.
What do you think, Tanner? Deep cut time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So deep cut is a part of the episode where we go a little bit deeper into a topic of music. Tanner comes up with a sort of a question to get our juices flowing and get us thinking about something more specific. So today on this episode, we want to ask the question that, okay, so if you were to embark on a long flight, let's say here to California, actually, you're headed off to school, or it could be anywhere. You could be headed anywhere in the world. What music would you play to either comfort your anxiety of flying, should there be any anxiety present, or simply to occupy your headspace, something to just kind of tinker on and think about? The journey is great, but what do you listen to that helps you reach your destination? What comes to mind? What would you put in your headphones?
It's funny you asked that, because I have only flown like 3 times in my life. And one of the times was when I went to LA to visit USC. And I was super sick. I was really anxious. I'm very anxious about flying. So I just kind of sat there and I put my headphones in and I put on Gregory Alan Isakov's album, This Empty Northern Hemisphere. It's really beautiful. It's almost like a collection of lullabies. And it always brings me so much peace when I listen to them. Some of my favorite songs were on that album. And I think his music has inspired mine so much with his string parts. So I love just sitting back and admiring his work.
Oh,
What about you?
What about you, Taylor?
So, when I thought of this question, it always comes back to comfort food for me. And my comfort food album is This Desert Life by the Counting Crows, which is, very reminiscent of high school. It came out when I was, I believe, 17, maybe 16. And there's a lot of travel within that album. Like, there's a lot of songs about being on the road and trying to reach your destination. And it's not as popular as August and everything after. It's their third album, but I think from start to finish, it holds up almost better in a way. It's a little bit more thematic, And so I was thinking, what's going to help me reach my destination? So for me, it's This Desert Life by Counting Crows. But Morgan, how about you?
Beautiful. I would probably scroll around and think about, listening to a bunch of different things, but then I would probably settle on, it's a song, it's about an hour long, maybe a little bit more. It's called Thursday Afternoon. It's by Brian Eno, who's kind of an ambient composer.
Whoa.
And it's really cool. Yeah, it's like music light. It's like I've talked about it on the show before, but it's basically designed or composed to be almost like you're walking through your house on a Thursday afternoon. Nothing really specific is happening. You kind of look out the window, maybe you sit down on the couch, open a book. Like, it's not a Saturday night, it's not even a Monday morning. It's just a Thursday afternoon, kind of this benign experience, and it's just enough stimulation for my brain to feel like I'm listening to these kind of tones and these dings. But it's very wandering, and I think it would put me right into the zone of relaxation, and time would probably pass at a nice clip so we could reach our destination. So Thursday Afternoon by Brian Eno, one of my very favorite
That's
songs.
great.
I don't hesitate to call it a song, but yeah, definitely check it out. It's one of those you could put on repeat in the background, and it just sounds like air somehow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
It's a good one. All right. Next section is the mix it up.
Right. And so, as our listeners know, we always have a playlist that accompanies every episode. Sophia's contributed 4 songs. I've contributed 4, as has Morgan. We're going to include your birthday song, Prank That Soldier Boy, on there, because why wouldn't we? And you also have to listen to Steady. Your single will be on that as well. So
Aw, okay.
But yeah, so Sophia, want to know if you could take a minute to highlight, 1 or 2 of your suggestions.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with The Seed by Aurora. I really love Aurora. I think she's such an inspiration for my generation because she's always like speaking up about, these really intimidating global issues like climate change, and her voice is very comforting, her messages are very beautiful. And I saw her live in concert at Fenway during Christmas time, and her stage presence is just so captivating. And I think that song, The Seed, the lyrics are really incredible. Her whole hook is "You can't eat money," and it's about how like humans have become such a threat to the environment with how much waste we produce. And yeah, it's a really amazing song.
Beautiful.
I'm not super familiar with Aurora, so I'm excited to listen to it.
Great.
I love that one. And let's see, the other songs I chose. Oh, let's go with Unwritable Girl by Gregory Alan Isakov, since I mentioned him earlier. I think that whole concept about an unwritable girl, I love that, because it's like, it's implying that she's so, heavenly, that she's hard to even express, yet he writes a song about her. First of all, I think that whole concept is great. And this song was a part of his album that he recorded with the Colorado Symphony, And that's always been such a dream of mine. And like the strings in that song are so luscious. And I really just admire his work and their collaboration with the symphony.
Stunning choice. Oh, I'm excited to dive into this playlist.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
What about you, Tana? What'd you choose?
So the one I want to highlight is a new single by Matt Berninger. He's the lead singer of The National, and he's come out with his second solo album. It's called Bonnet of Pins. And for anyone who's a fan of indie rock music from the early 2000s, The National are kind of like the grandfathers of indie rock, and they made kind of I think what's kind of been labeled as sad boy indie rock to a degree. And what's kind of funny is that I saw Matt Berninger, who was interviewed on The Daily Show recently, talking about his solo project and how he wanted to write something more uplifting. And I think this song is probably the most uplifting song on the album, but truth be told, a lot of it just sounds kind of like The National. But what was fascinating, I wanted to share, was he wrote most of the lyrics on baseballs. Okay, so I don't know how you write your songs. If you write them on your phone or, who knows, pen and paper. But that's how people do it. Old school. He took baseballs and wrote out the lyrics on baseballs.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, and so he did this. He did it as a personal challenge to himself. I guess he's a big baseball fan, and he wanted to see, how it would influence his writing style because there's not a lot of real estate on a baseball. It's pretty small, and so then you're kind of creative, turning the ball and then trying to read what you wrote because you're cramming a lot of, text onto a little space. But he did it, and this is the result of it. So, Mind of Pens is a good, I like it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, if you're ever stuck or in a writer's block, maybe try writing on baseballs.
I'll give it a go
Right.
these days.
Like one continuous line, like around the entire baseball?
Well, that's what he was talking about, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, or like within the panels of the baseball, which is like stitches. Yeah.
Gives me a good thing. I chose The Edge by Maya Sharp. Do you know Maya Sharp, Sophia?
Ooh, she sounds really familiar. Maybe I'll know it once I hear it.
Yeah, she is an amazing singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of folky, a little bit rockish, very powerful force. And I listened to her music kind of like through middle school and high school. I think she has some newer work now, but those albums that she was releasing back then are very nostalgic for me. And her vulnerability and lyrics kind of made me think a bit about your work and how there's some resonance there in terms of just like the depth and beauty. So Maya Sharp, The Edge, one to check out. And her whole albums, everything she creates is really thoughtful, but they used to play her a lot on WCLZ 98.9. They do as well now, but for sure. It's a good one.
Cool. I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, so it's sad and kind of hard to believe we're already kind of into our closing leg of the show, but we want to make sure that before we close, everyone knows where they can find you. They can follow you, they can listen to your music, they can download your music, all of the above. So we have your contact information here. Instagram is sophia.suzanne. So that's SOPHIA.SUZANNE. So is that right? That's the place to you. Perfect. We've got your email here, also Sophia Suzanne Scott at gmail.com for gigs. Book Sophia for a gig or interest questions. And then the link tree that is present on your Instagram probably.
Yeah.
Yep. So then there's links there to stream her music across all platforms. So definitely check out, follow, download. And any other bits or pieces you want to share in terms of how people can reach out to you or any final thoughts you might have?
just shoot me an email or DM me on Instagram if you have any questions or you want to become friends or you need someone to sing at your event. I'd love to do that.
Awesome. Great. Well, we'll have a think because actually I have a couple things in mind too. So you may be hearing from me a little bit later on. But thank you again so much for taking time out of busy summer life and all that you have going on to chat with us. It's so fun to hear about your inner world and some of your process. And it's so cool that we're all from Boothbay and doing this little project here. So
you both are so kind, and I really love what you're doing. I love how you're kind of giving small artists a voice. That's really amazing, and it was so nice talking to you guys.
Oh, you're beyond lovely, Sophia. It's our honor for sure, and we can't wait to see you out in the world at shows. In the meantime, stay tuned, listeners, for the It's Music Time podcast. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Follow us, like us, share us, give these beautiful artists a voice and a listen.
Yep, and don't touch that dial. As soon as we sign off, you'll be able to hear Steady by Sophia Suzanne.
Oh, thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Sophia, again, and thank you, Universe, for tuning in. We'd love to hear your feedback, listeners. Like this episode, share with a friend, leave us a review, and if you feel so inclined, share this podcast with every single person that you know. We appreciate your support, and until next time, stay cooler than cool. Thank you so much. And again, Sophia, you're the best.
All right.
Ciao.
I've been trying, but I feel so alone. Oh, I've been trying to feel at home with myself, but when I can't breathe, my heart feels out of place. It just chains me down, while the ones I love are changing around me. How am I supposed to feel steady if the wind is pushing me back? It's pushing me back. How am I supposed to feel ready for the world if my own fears are naturally really dead? And I'll start crying when wandering on fate. And I've been lying to my body when I say that it's okay. My body's a haunted house, prepping to scare me, so I stay up thinking of all that I wanna be. But in the end, aren't I supposed to feel ready? How am I supposed to feel steady if the wind is pushing me back? It's pushing me back. How am I supposed to feel ready for the world if my own fears are naturally really dead? I've been trying, but I feel so alone. I've been trying to feel at home
The It's Music Time podcast is an independent passion project produced by Tanner Grover and Morgan Mitchell. The theme song for this podcast is by Ben Shepherd, the artist known as Yay Yay. Find him on Instagram at Yay Yay Music. Thanks for tuning in to the It's Music Time podcast. See you next time.